Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakah Kudash. Double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone all well. And shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Paya Allah, and this is the book of Ruth, the third chapter, which reads, Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, My daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee? And now is not Boaz of our kindred, with whose maidens thou wast thou wast. Behold, he winnoweth barlow tonight in the threshing floor. Right. So Naomi is basically saying that, you know, it's come to a time where she needs to find Ruth, a husband, right, or a place for only meaning a husband. And she basically put forth Boaz as, the best or most according to the law. And it shows you that Naomi was a man of, it's lucky, excuse me, a woman of great understanding in that she understood the law, statutes, and commandments, and how Ruth had to marry someone within her kindred, according to the book of Deuteronomy, the 25th chapter, right, which goes into the law as dealing with that pertains to inheritance. All right, when someone dies and how the inheritance is to be handled, which also encompasses Numbers, the 27th chapter, I believe, and Leviticus, the 25th chapter, and also the story spoke of with Judah and Tamar in the book of Genesis. All right. So it says, so basically he was at the threshing floor, winnowing the barley. All right. Verse 3: Wash thyself therefore and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor. But make not thyself known unto the man, until he shall have done eating and drinking. And it shall be, when he lieth down, that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet, and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. All right. And the laying at his feet, I figure, pertains to a cultural thing, of being presenting herself as a servant at the feet of or a servant, a wife at the feet of Boaz. All right, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. And she said unto her, All that thou sayest unto me I will do. And she went down onto the floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn. And she came softly and uncovered his feet, and her down, laid her down. All right, verse 8. And it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid and turned himself, and behold, a woman lay at his feet. And I'm gonna go ahead there, marked, but this reminds me, as soon as I read this, it reminded me of this in Sirach about the fear that comes in the fear comes in your sleep, night terrors and this thing. It's an example. This is a righteous man that basically, uh, I don't know whether it was, when I read it now, I'm not sure whether it was actually night terror or he felt her presence and he woke up to her. But hey, let's read on. Verse 9. And he said, Who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread before thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman. All right, this is kind of deep because the name Ruth goes back to at the root of it all really goes back to Ra'ai, which means friend. All right, Ruth is Rawaf, all right, which means friendship. All right, and then another word, a root before you get to from friendship. is Ra'ai or Ra'ai, I believe it's Ra'if, which basically means female companion. All right. So, this is it's funny because you know in what she is within the encapsulation of this story, it's dealing with the kinship and keeping the inheritance in house and the blessing of following through with that decree and the blessing that the decree of the kinsman, redeemer, etc., etc., and the blessing in keeping to it. All right. So a name being Rawaf, all right, friendship, being of a near kinship, all right, speaks quite a lot to this point. All right, verse 10. And he said, Blessed be thou, O Lord Yahweh, my daughter, for thou hast showed more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning. Oh yeah, and the friendship that but she also had, she kept. All right, even after you know being loose of the bounds of the marital responsibility by Naomi, she kept to it because she loved her excuse me, her mother-in-law. All right. But anyway, let me read this again, verse 10. And he said, Blessed be thou, O Lord Yahweh, my daughter, for thou hast showed more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning, inasmuch as thou followedest not young men, whether poor or rich. All right. She's shown herself to be a very wise and prudent and blessed female, woman, in the fact that she didn't think, what, I'll go out there and I'll find a young man or I'll find someone that's, the cool guy or the rich man. But basically, she just, as it goes on saying, and goes on to say in verse 11, and now my daughter, fear not, I will do to thee all that thou requirest, for all the city of my people doth know that thou art a virtuous woman. So he said he's going to make it a point that the whole city knows of her virtue. All right. And now it is true that I am thy near kinsman, howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I. All right. So there's someone else that's closer than Boaz, and he's going to basically, speak to him and figure this out. Tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning that if he will perform unto thee the part of a kinsman, well, let him do the kinsman's part. But if he will not do the part of a kinsman to thee, then will I do the part of a kinsman to thee, as the Lord Jehovah liveth. Lie down until the morning. And she lay at his feet until the morning, and she rose up before one could know another. And he said, Let it not be known that a woman came into the floor. It's kind of deep as well, because knowing the outcome of this situation, it's like it was, these. It's funny because when you read these stories, it's like it's a marvelous thing, man. Because it's like with the Most High Power, Yahweh Bashem and Shai Bashem Harakah Kudash, you have things that are of warning and things of you know predestination, in the sense that you have like signs of things to come. So the fact that she presented herself by laying at his feet with the intention for him to lay with her, and then he basically said, "No, I can't do it," with her attention, but they still remained in the same position regardless, but not in a wicked sense, but it was a sign of what's to come, that basically he would take her to wife, all right, even though there was a process, but it's just kind of deep in that it still went like that. All right. Verse 15. Also he said, Bring the veil that thou hast upon thee and hold it. And when she held it, it measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her. And she went into the city. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, Who art thou, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done to her. And she said, These 6 measures of barley gave he me, for he said to me, Go not empty unto thy mother-in-law. Then said she, Sit still, my daughter, sorry, until thou know how the matter will fall. For the man will not be in rest until he have finished the thing this day. All right. So with that, I pray you're edified to the next one. Shalom.